Welcome to the channel, friends, and welcome to the workshop. So today I'm going to share with you guys my new and improved design on the Teflon deflector that I'm using for my HSS1332ATD. Now, if you're not aware of this already, I have gone ahead and modified the chute on my machine, and I cut out the factory collar that was in place, which would cause clogging on a rare occasion. But I just wanted to remove that from my machine. And by doing so, what happens is that you encounter blow-by now when the actual chute is turned at 3 o'clock or just past 3 o'clock. So this is something that I need to solve because I don't want the discharge to hit me in the face and to build up along the light and the hood. So in order to do that, I have to come up with a deflector of some sort that works. So this is a part 2 to my original video. And in my original video, I made my original design, which works. It doesn't clog. But I left the bottom half of the chute open, but there was still a gap that was allowing blow-by to get past the machine and still into my face and into the light area. So I had to extend the deflector down towards the base of the chute, but at the same time retain some kind of relief. That way, if there's any excessive slush that builds up, it falls straight out of the machine. It does not fall back into the impeller housing and cause some kind of clog. So my improved design, I think, is going to work much better than my original design, but obviously I have to put it through the paces and see how it performs with actual snow and slush when I get the perfect conditions here in New Hampshire. So what I will do is show you guys my improved design and kind of the theory behind it, and show you guys me fabricating it up and installing it on the machine. So if this is something that's going to interest you, stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, so here is the new design. This right here is just a cardboard template. I went ahead and figured out everything I needed to when it comes to fasteners and everything, and what works for height. And this is the cutout that I'm talking about. So my original design did not have that. It basically was a deflector from about here up, and basically this is it here. And I had it mounted with 6 nut and bolts on the top of the chute, but there was still a gap at the bottom that was allowing blow-by to get past the machine and out of the chute. Okay, so what I did was I extended it down and I came in towards the center with some Teflon. This is all one piece. That way it's going to have a good form and it's going to be nice and rigid. And basically these flanks here are going to capture the blow-by. Now, it only happens when the machine is turned on this, when the chute is turned on this side of the machine. There is no blow-by when it's on the muffler side of the machine. So, essentially, you could have this opened up a lot more on this side, but I'm going to go with a symmetrical approach here and see how it works. But, essentially, I'm just going to take this off so I can show you without anything in the way. I started off here with a 3-inch opening at the bottom, and this is 8 inches tall of an opening. And here is a 1-inch radius, and pretty much you have 2 inches across this way. And I started off with this as a minimum, okay, because I can always come in and cut away at this if I feel that I have to open up the opening and more in the future. So I'm going to start with this, and I think this has enough clearance for the snow and slush. Well, majority it's going to be slush that's going to fall out of here. Snow will just discharge out of the top of the chute. That's never a problem. It's the heavy wet slush that's a problem for the collar on these machines. So the factory collar, if you're not aware already, comes up to about right here. It's about a 5 to 6 inch collar, and it covers the bottom portion of the chute. I removed that, okay? So by removing that, obviously there's blow-by because now whatever's being discharged off this side of the impeller housing opening, it just projects out of the chute at a weird angle. So it just, the way it spins it, it ends up discharging because this chute is actually relieved backwards. There's a back cut here, if you can't see that, if you're not aware already. So what happens is it comes shooting straight out of this area right here. Sorry, on this side. So it comes straight out this side. So this design right here, I have a pretty good feeling that it's going to work and it's not going to clog. But obviously, I'll have to put it through the paces. So I'm going to take this cardboard template now, and I'm going to trace it onto the Teflon and basically cut it out, drill out the holes, and then mount it on the machine. And then at the end of the video, I'll show you guys an actual clip of this in action. Alright, so here is the template, and this is the Teflon I will be using. This is 62 thousandths thick, so we're looking at 1/16 of an inch. It's still flexible, still has enough thickness to keep good form. The template itself is just out of cardboard, and went ahead and clamped it onto the chute, and then I went ahead and traced out the profile of the chute here, and then I offsetted it a 1/2 inch to compensate for the mounting flange here along the edge. The overall length is about 16 inches, if I'm correct. And we're looking at a 3-inch opening here with a 1-inch radius at the top here, 8 inches to the peak of that radius. Okay, from the bottom here of this template. And that's what we're going to start with. And pretty much that comes up to about halfway up this deflector, this opening here. And I'm just going to go ahead and trace this out and really quickly mark off all the holes for drilling. Alright, so I went ahead and totally deburred and filed down the edges and everything on this Teflon deflector. I went ahead and put some radii on the corners where they were sharp. So there's nothing sharp on this, everything is blended and deburred. Now the only thing I have to do is just go ahead and kind of pre-bend the flanges where it's going to mount onto the actual chute. That way it just gives it some better shape, and it allows it to just look factory. So I'm going to go ahead and use a handbrake and basically just bend over a 1/2 inch along the edge to give me some form for the mounting flanges. Now it's time to mount it on the machine. So for this I will be using the stainless steel fastener nut and bolt, and I have two nylon flat washers on either side to take up some of the thread length. So that's what I'm using for fasteners, and it works great. Alright, so next I'm just going to go ahead and snug up by hand all the fasteners, and then I can try them shoot out and see how it works. Alright, so I'm going to use a heat gun to relieve any stress left in the Teflon from either the manufacturing process when it was made or the bending process I just did to kind of form the flanges for the chute. So I'm just going to go ahead and heat this thing up kind of uniformly and just have it so it forms to the chute and the flanges don't have any stress in them, just so it fits better within the chute itself. I noticed when I mounted this thing up it had some gaps here and there, so I'm going to go ahead and just heat it up and relieve that stress. Alright, so here is the Teflon deflector all done. It's all snugged up, it's all heated up and formed to the chute. There's no more gaps along the bottom near the rotating ring, so there's a seamless transition from the chute to the actual deflector itself. And now I'll just give you some close-ups of it and show you what it looks like. So pretty much you have the whole chute covered top to bottom, minus the relief there in the center. And pretty much it's going to eliminate all the extra stuff falling out on top of the actual housing here and on top of the hood where the light is. And these flanks here are going to capture all that blow-by where the chute is rotated all the way clockwise. So 8 fasteners holding the Teflon deflector in place. I'm very happy with the installation and how everything went. Now it's a matter of trying it out and waiting for some snow. Actually waiting for some slush, because snow is not a problem with this. It's the slush that's a problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and put back the hood and everything. I'm happy with everything the way it came out. I'm really happy with the way the deflector looks. I mean, it looks like it's going to capture everything and do exactly what I want it to do. Give you a close-up of the bottom rotating ring. The Teflon sits on the inside of this ring. That way there's no gaps and everything will be captured and discharged out of the top. I'll give you a side profile to see what it looks like. So that's what it looks like with the hood on. You still have a gap there now for the chute to rotate around and not to bind up. This looks very promising. I'm very happy with everything so far. Give you a profile shot of the left side. I did tuck this in about 1.5 inches compared to my original deflector. It was sticking out and coming in contact with the light just a little bit and hitting the top of this hood. So this here is much more compact and tucked into the chute, and it should not cause any problems. So this opening is still generous enough to allow for excessive discharge of slush to come out, but at the same time, because of the extended sides here, it's going to capture the blow-by. That's going to be the problem to begin with, because I removed that factory collar. So that's it right there. Now it's just a matter of waiting for some slush to actually try this thing out. and to see how it performs. And obviously I will post it at the end of this video and show you exactly how this thing runs. Alright, so here's the machine. I just did the whole driveway with the new Teflon deflector in place, the improved design, and it seems like it works as planned. I do get a little bit of blowback, but it's an acceptable amount of blowback, and it does not go past the gas tank. It stays forward of the gas tank, and it's very little. I don't know if you can see that in the video. But overall, that's how much snow is left over on the machine from doing a whole driveway that's 800 feet long. Okay, so I'm really happy with the results. There's not a lot of snow buildup on the housing, on the hood or the light, and pretty much it worked as planned. And I did notice that it keeps the stream of snow much tighter now. There's less spatter and just random pieces of snow coming out the front of the chute and falling out forward. So that's the machine with the new deflector in place. And the snow that I had here was about 5 inches of heavy snow. It wasn't super wet snow, but it is damp snow. So this was still a good test, and I'm very happy so far. This opening here did look like it was relieving some excessive snow, and it would just kind of fall off the hood and then onto the ground. So, but most of it was being captured by the deflector, which is good. It's exactly how I wanted it to work. So that's the deflector. I'm really happy with it, and yeah, that's it. Well guys, that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button, and if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.